I'm curious because the idea that they've all been exploited to me is both like interesting, but at the same time, I'm watching a community of, I think it's around 1 million people around the world
Hmm.
who are still holding GameStop,
Hmm.
which may seem like an absurd number, but I mean, I can prove it. But the uh, the thing to me is that we were talking about what have the retail investors learned was a big question that I had, and I think you were kind of posing it in the book. And I was curious about what you thought is like, what if the lesson is HODL, like hold? Like, what if that is the ultimate lesson that people have learned from this? Because like that's something I've learned, like personally, that the quick flash in the pan things don't happen. Is like if you want
Yeah.
long-term value, you have to like pick with a company or an index fund that you believe is going to be fine in the long run and just buy it and leave it and walk away. There's a trope in the cryptocurrency community that the people who went to prison are the people who held the longest with Bitcoin.
Right.
So I like, what if the lesson is HODL basically, and that this has educated a bunch of people?
Well, I think that that's really interesting, right? Because I'm older than you, but I have kids who are much closer to your age and who are right in the kind of main part of the demographic here. And I work with a lot of people who are younger than me, who are in that demographic. And so, the millennial generation is a very well educated, self-confident, smart generation. And I think the people who got into this because of the GameStop squeeze, they had a lot of right ideas, in my opinion, things um, that are kind of elements of success. They don't maybe not have every element of success, but I'll tell you a few things. One is, if you buy something and maybe not a single stock, but if you buy some things and you hold on for a long time, so you're very, very patient, and you wait a long time and you're not shaken off easily. That is a great quality. If you look at what Keith Gill did, go back into his interactions on the board in 2019 and early 2020, and he was not famous, and he was not an icon or a mascot. He was being ridiculed. Look at the responses to his posts. Go look at that, and look at his responses to those people, which were very astute. Uh, People are like, you doubled your money, sell. Oh, you lost $100,000 on paper, you schmuck. Why didn't you sell? And he was very, very reasoned, and he gives his reasons, and he's totally right. Not necessarily that, I mean, if obviously it could have turned out badly for him, he could have lost every penny, but I mean, but his way of thinking was a very profitable way of thinking, which is hold things, have a very long holding period, and check your investments infrequently. That's something that this generation doesn't do. So Robinhood customers, for example, check their accounts in excess of 7 times a day.
Mm.
Uh, and there's lots of evidence, lots of academic evidence that the more often you check your accounts, the more likely you are to do something bad, like sell or panic or whatever. And it's an idea in behavioral finance called myopic loss aversion, because you're more likely to see a loss the more often you check. I'll tell you a funny story is, my mom is 80 years old, and during, I guess she retired a bit early, so she was just about to retire during the tail end of the dot-com bubble. She did retire, I guess. She was semi-retired, and she would watch CNBC all day. CNBC was a big deal here in the U.S. Then my parents are immigrants. My mom doesn't speak English that well, but whatever. She would watch. She knew everyone's name, Money Honey, everybody. And her friend told her that she should trade stocks online. You could use the internet to trade stocks. It was very new then. It was 1998 or something like that. So she had a bit of money in her checking account, and she, whatever money she had, it wasn't a fortune, she put it into this account at Ameritrade, and she bought two stocks that she had heard about on CNBC. That whatever the next two people who went on probably talked about, and then she kind of forgot that she had that account, because you don't get I guess she clicked that she didn't need to get letters from them. And then it was her old AOL account. And then she didn't really check that email or have that email. So many, many years went by. And then a few years ago, I'm doing my mom's taxes. And she's like, oh, yeah, I got this letter in the mail. And yeah, I owe taxes on this some company that I bought. Somebody bought the company, and now I have to pay capital gains taxes. I do her taxes for her. So, oh, okay. I didn't even know you had that account. He goes, no, I forgot about it. It's like, well, mom, what was the other stock you bought? You said you bought two stocks. Like, oh, it was Amazon.com. This is 1998, right?
No
So
way,
she's got,
man.
yeah, so it's
That's
worth more than
incredible.
more than her apartment now, and she just put a little bit of money into it. So, and I'm like, gee, mom, like that's like a lot of money for you. Like maybe you should sell like some of it. I mean, it's of course I was totally wrong. Like it's got continued to go up
Yeah.
since then. And and now she's like you know, Mrs. Buy and hold. She's like, no, I'm never gonna sell. I'm holding that stock forever. Like, okay, it's your money, do what you want. It's fine. But just by accident. I mean, but Amazon.com lost 90% of its value three times since she bought it.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that she would have at some point uh, during those three times kind of panicked and sold
Mm.
because it's a meaningful amount of money to her. So, yeah, so obviously that happened by accident, but yeah, I think there's a long way of answering your question. I think that holding for a long time can work out quite well, especially if it's a more diversified set of things and not just one company. My mom just got lucky; it could have been Pets.com, right, which went bankrupt. But so just lucky that she happened to hear about that on Amazon. And the other thing that people I think generally get right is a distrust of guys in suits on TV telling you what you should buy. If your mom and dad's stockbroker is not the person that a 25-year-old trusts these days. And you know what? Wall Street is full of people who are very self-serving and shady characters. I think people who are finfluencers are also can be quite shady and self-serving as well. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you should just listen to random people on TikTok, but yeah, but people telling you, you know what? You think about just stop and think. Is that person, if they're so smart, why are they telling me what to buy? I mean, that's so I think that this kind of cynicism is serves the younger generation well too.
Yeah, I mean there's an incredible amount of cynicism and skepticism about anyone's motives. Which is it can be healthy, but someone pointed out to me that it can also be a little bit like anyone criticizing or anyone saying anything you don't like is then automatically a shill or someone who's been paid off or someone who has financial incentive. And it becomes a little bit sometimes like the Monty Python "she's a witch" sketch.
Yeah.
Yes, which, yeah. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment for us in the comments below. Let me know what you thought and if you'd like to see more of this from the show. Thank you, and we'll see you again next time.